Well, he fought in a regiment of a Negro regiment from Ohio. He was a lieutenant in that regiment during the war. And I think that we tend to forget that, you know, with war comes, there's always this feeling in a wartime, if you fought in the war, you're deserving of citizenship and the vote. And so he was very directly involved in life and death situations with African American soldiers.
That's a great point. Yeah.
There's a story that comes after Tourget's death. Evidently, Emma talked to her lawyer and family friend, Adelbert Moot, about this, and she used to tell this story about when they invited the African American bishop to dinner at their home in Greensboro. And this caused a lot of consternation among their own servants, and that both in word and in action, the servants were very agitated about this. But the interesting thing is that the Tourgets did, in fact, violate the rules against social equality by inviting an African American to their home for dinner. And they were doing this even in Reconstruction era Greensboro, which during an era of Klan attacks and when their own lives were in danger. So certainly for Tourget's whole life, I think he practiced this kind of equality whenever he could and wherever he could. And I think this is one of the reasons he was so beloved by African Americans. And you find in his papers hundreds of letters by African Americans to him. And there are a lot of well-known people, besides the ones that we already talked about. I mean, many of the editors of key African American newspapers, Harry C. Smith, whom Mark mentioned, the editor of the Cleveland Gazette, William Anderson, the editor of the Detroit Plain Dealer, Josephine St. Pierre Ruffin, the editor of the Boston Courant, and later of, I slipped my mind, but it's a major African American women's journal. And I mean, Charlotte Fortin, Anna Julia Cooper. I mean, these were all really well-known people who corresponded with Tourget, who interacted with Tourget, and who certainly saw him as practicing both social and political equality.
That's great.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, this also takes me back to something that Mark mentioned, the incident in the church.
Yes.
Where Tourget took the two girls. I don't think that was a random act. I think it was planned. I think Tourget was forcing an issue of equality there. He did not take them to the colored section of that church where a committee after the service reminded him, if you come back, you need to take these children where they belong. I think it was an open act of civil disobedience. I think he was also trying to expose the hypocrisy of